Joseph Tobet once said that the aim of the discussion and the aim of the debates and the aim of the argument is not to win, but is for progress. So don't ascend the stage and want to win, but ascend the stage so that the country can progress and the province can progress. Can this be a lesson to our members from the oppositions moving forward? That every time we contribute, the contribution has to be on the province progressing forward. The preamble of the constitution of this country states as follows: that the aim of the constitution is to heal the divisions of the past, establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, fundamental human rights, improve the quality of life of all citizens, and free the potential of each person. This is what we have been mandated to do. So the Constitution says to all of us here, the leading and the opposition parties, that we must free the potential of each person. And this is being derived because we are from a particular history that I will explain later, that has cost so much that today some people are proud to say they want to access the rights that for 350 years they have denied our people. Let me also try to explain some few concepts that are linked to societal development. Because I think the members of the opposition parties, honorable members, they seem not to understand the meaning of the sector that we are with today. Number one, sports is an activity involving physical exchange and skill, in which an individual or teams complement or compete against one another or others for entertainment, for them as individuals and as communities to develop. Number two, culture. Culture, its ideas, its customs, its forms and standards of behavior that a community will agree upon. But it will be those cultures that will make you to unite in diversity. But the ultimate point of culture is that the society must develop. The society should not stay static. The other one is the expression and the application of the human creativity, the arts. The arts should be allowed to express itself to ensure that whatever there is in the society are exposed, but also the benefits of the society are also being praised. Then lastly, the recreational. The recreational promotes active lifestyles. It helps individuals to build a healthy communities and minimize tensions in the communities and minimize divisions in the communities, because people will start to play together and work together to one goal, which is what of building a community. So this will also relate to the Free State community. Now, having understand these four concepts, it will tell you that you can't use culture, you can't use sports, you can't use recreation, nor arts to divide the society. You have to make use of these things to build the society. We can only use sports and culture to build a prosperous province based on the following principles. The principles of unity. It's only sports, arts, culture, and recreation that can unite our people across racial lines. The problem is that the history of our country, the painful history that we are coming from, some group of minorities, the culture was inculcated to them that for them to be excelling in sports, you have to be of a particular color. That is why they still resist to use sports, arts and culture and recreation to unite the society, which is something that we need to reach. The era before the democratic breakthrough in 1994 points to a very painful past and a horrible movie whereby sports, arts and culture and recreation were used to promote a system which was declared a crime against humanity. Sports, arts, culture and recreation was used to perpetuate the thinking that the color of skin was a condition to excel in certain particular categories of sports. Sports, arts and culture was also used to ensure that the minority will have access to the resources, both facilities and the human resources and the monetary facilities. You go to all the towns in our areas in the Free State. Most of the most developed facilities, you almost found them in town, because the financial sector and the private sector in the past, they have colluded with the government of the day then to establish those facilities. We've asked the ANC-led government, we are alone to establish such facilities. Today we are being questioned, where are those facilities? Ask the private sector and the financial sector, where is their contribution to today's government? The sports, arts, recreation and culture was also used to psychologically make a black child to feel very inferior, but a white child to feel superior than the other because of the resources. The problem here is not the color. The problem is the access to the resources. If you want to argue it furthermore, I will explain it to you. In 1989, after the apartheid government was allowed to participate in the world sports, there was a runner in Sasolburg, in Datesem Chabalala, may his soul rest in peace. He ran in the first marathon ever, the Comrades Marathon. After 73 years of anniversary of Comrades Marathon, and he won the race and defeated those who have access because of the potential and talent. Let me tell you where I'm going from. Every child who is born with a talent. All what we need to do is to extract the talent from the child. And the only way to do that is to give them access to such challenges. And every child has the potential to win, to sing, to dance like any other one, as long as there are resources given to them. Now, fast forward, after the 1994 breakthrough, the sports now was also used by the ANC-led government to try and unite the country. The first thing that we did was to accept the then apartheid symbols and make them our symbols. Springbok, the Protea, we accepted them. All what we're trying to do was to ensure that we don't win, but we put the progress of the country at heart. We've also ensured that we build facilities that were never ever dreamed about in the olden days by a black child. Multi-purposes were started to be erected in our townships. Sports facilities, including soccer facilities, were started to be erected in our areas. MEC made a very compelling observation today that hypothetically we're not even supposed to be talking about what is happening or what happened in the olden days, but the reality denied us. The question is why? Just a simple answer. You can't find white boys playing with a cloth made of a rugby ball in a street. But every time go to a township, you'll find black children playing with a ball made of a cloth. The reason is the resource. So soccer or sports, arts and culture is also linked with the kind of society we are trying to build. What was built before the era of 1994 is something different than what we are trying to build today. I was so surprised that, Honorable Klute, indeed you only found one item out of these so many items that were raised in the budget speech. But let me tell you why. The problem is you are still denying to account of what we have done to our country for 350 years. You can't even talk about the national significance of the days. In this country, we've got significant days that always recall our history. So it is difficult for you to talk about such because you will have to account to your children exactly what happened in March. Why are they calling it Human Rights Day? You have to tell them that we shot these people because they demanded IDs. So it is difficult for you to appreciate that we have this thing in our budget. So I'm trying to appeal to you, all of you members of the opposition, try to appreciate and internalize these things so that when we come here, we commit ourselves that never and never shall our country experience such inhuman things that were done to the Africans and black people in general. So, you also can't celebrate who we are because you don't want to become part of Africa. You see yourself as part of Africa by the color of the skin. That is why you also disallow your children to participate in some of the most important games. Games like soccer, but more importantly, games like the indigenous games. Let me tell you about the indigenous games. There's a game called Diketo. It's a very most important game. It helps a child to develop in this way. Diketo, it's a game where you put plus or minus 12 stones together. You make a cycle. Some they dig a hole. You put those stones in the hole or in the circle. What happens there? A child starts to learn how to count. Yes. The first thing they do, they take one stone out of the hole or return one stone to the hole. So there's also a subtraction and additional mathematical methodology. So Diketo, Kitu, Yaruna, Yama Africa, Otlamini, Lihabe Kayo. The indigenous games again, Diketo, they also help us to relate with our cultures, to start to associate with one another. You can't play Diketo alone. It needs a number of people. In so doing, you start to associate the society at the early beginning age. So just imagine of a country where a black and white children, Bababa Diketo, starting to appreciate their cultures. So we're not doing that because we are not ready to face a country where we will say we are making sports, arts and culture to contribute to a building of a united, democratic and non-racial and non-sexist South Africa. Now, the heroes' monuments, and our people have always been misled that the ANC-led government is wasting time, is wasting money by building monuments. Let me tell you, the monuments are about tracing the history of where we are coming from and where we are and where we are going. Go to each and every town in the Free State. There are old monuments of the then apartheid leaders, what General Herzog and many generals. Why? Because they are able to trace their history and they appreciate it. Now, if you want to kill a nation, make it not to appreciate its history. It is for that reason that they will condemn the ANC-led government to build the monuments and a democratic state, so that our children should grow without knowing their culture. Here is an education today. You can only know where you are going only if you know where you are coming from. Now, the bitter end why they don't want these monuments, it is because they will also make them to account about the progress that they are making. Just think if we can have a monument around the stolen land in 1930, they will have to account, why did you steal this land? So it is very much difficult for them to appreciate these things because they are linked with the kind of society we are trying to build. Now, there's a program again that they put and other members of the opposition. It's called Rejabuka. This is aimed at destroying the ignorance and literacy. And I think MEC actually invite members, particularly members who can pronounce Kwakwa by Kwakwa, so that they become part of the Rejabuka. The Rejabuka is going to ensure that every person in the society, it's not about an academic achievement, but at least you are able to count, read, and speak. That's all it's aimed at. So Rejabuka, people are able to read in their own language, but they're also able to share their different languages. Because in South Africa, unfortunately, we've got 11 official languages, and it is expected of all of us to know and understand all of them. So here is a call by the MEC to say all members should join Rejabuka, and children in particular must also participate. So take your child to Rejabuka so that they can then understand the proficiency of other languages.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. Your time has expired.
Central TV.